Hi, I'm Dr. Becky Lossing. I'm a 2014 graduate of Tufts, and I'm the founder and CEO of Mini Mammoth. My goal is to help vet students stay organized and efficient through vet school, clinics, and the NAVLE so they can put their best foot forward with less effort. Today I'm going to share the top 3 mistakes I see when people study for the NAVLE. The number one mistake you can make in studying for the NAVLE is to overestimate how much time you think you'll have to study for the exam. Because you think and hope beyond hope that you'll have more time than you actually do, you end up not spending your time wisely, and that is the second mistake. Instead of focusing on the most important diseases from the get-go, you might be letting test questions or overhearing other students dictate what you study and when. You might think that you'll eventually cover those most important diseases, so it doesn't really matter what you start with. But if you do run out of time, then you could be leaving those important diseases on the table in favor of diseases that are much less important. The third mistake that I see is a little more subtle, but it's still very important. It also comes from believing that you'll have more time to study than you actually do. What students end up doing is studying big blocks of species at a time, one after the other. So for example, they might study 50 hours of dogs over the course of a month before moving on to cats. Then they study 50 hours of cats before moving on to anything else. The problem with this, just like before, is that if you run out of time, then you're really over-prepared in one area, but under-prepared in another. Just as an example, if you studied the top 40 canine diseases, you're feeling really good about it, but you never get to bovine diseases at all, then canine disease number 40 might not even be on the exam, but bovine disease number 1 is definitely going to be on the exam. This is a really important step because it helps you focus your time from the get-go. There are 2 things you can do to prioritize your time. The first thing you can do is study the most important diseases first. Think top 10 to 20 per species before you move on to lesser important diseases. The second thing you can do is, instead of studying one species at a time for a long period of time, study a little bit of all of the species in a smaller time frame, like 1 week. This way, you can be studying the number 1 most important disease for every species right out of the gate, and then you can just keep repeating that up until the exam, covering the number 2 most important diseases for everyone, followed by number 3, etc. The key to implementing this correctly is to study each species in the proportion that it's expected on the exam. That way you're not getting over-indexed in one area at the expense of another. Well, that's everything. We covered the top 3 mistakes and solutions to studying the NAVLE, including number 1, acknowledging that you might have less time to study than you think. Number 2, focusing on the most important diseases first. And finally, studying a little bit of everything within a smaller time frame. I hope this has been helpful to you on your NAVLE journey. If you're looking for some help putting these into action, you can visit us at minimammoth.com.